Hello, good afternoon. My name is Alicia Kelso. I'm the executive editor at Nation's Restaurant News. I am here at RLC in Arizona with Shannon Hennessy, the CEO of The Habit Burger Grill. And I'm thrilled because I've been wanting to talk to you since you came on board less than a year ago.
Less than a year in the CEO role at Habit, almost 2 years now.
Okay. And with Yum, about what, 3 years?
4 years. 4 years. Joined right before COVID. Perfect timing.
I've had several conversations with people like, I joined right before COVID. Like, so you've been through it. Tell me, no, this is not a therapy session, so we don't have to worry about that.
We need stronger drinks.
Right, exactly. So less than a year in the CEO role, and I know that when you came on board, you talked about wanting, these sort of ambitious growth goals outside of your home state of California. Mm-hmm. Where are we with those goals? Tell me, I know you've got a couple in the Northeast, but, tell me about your overall ambition for growth.
Yeah, huge ambition,
Sure.
Big ambition. So we want to be the category leader in the better burger space, which is this exciting, fast growth category. Mm-hmm. I often say it's a race yet to be won because most of the folks who are playing in it are in pretty similar size and scale to where we are. So we're 370 restaurants, 14 states. So we do have a presence kind of as far up north as Boston and all the way down to southern Florida, but lots of white space for us to fill in over on the East Coast and in between, right? Our West Coast stronghold and the East Coast footprint that we have. And so I think we've got a ton going for us on that journey. You've probably eaten our food, so you know it's incredibly delicious, and we have this really differentiated feel-good proposition with customers. So after they eat our food, they feel good about it, which is pretty unique in the category. We've got the backing of the world's largest restaurant company,
that
right? So it sure does.
I heard scale is a good thing.
It is. And what we've been working on is getting to industry-leading payback, because coming from KFC, I appreciate that's the number one thing that can accelerate growth. And so we're really leveraging that scale and skill that we have as being part of Yum to be able to drive improvements in restaurant margin. And based on what we've put up so far, I'm pretty proud of that. 380 basis points improvement in restaurant margin if you look at Q4 of last year versus the prior.
That's
so
significant.
A lot of progress,
Sure.
absolutely significant. Still room to grow for sure.
What is driving that number?
Yes, 380 basis points is nothing to shake a fist at. It's several things. So I have a saying I call same magic, more margin. So what we're really focused on is not taking away from what's made the Habit so special historically. That's the quality of the food. That's the team member experience that helps us deliver consistently in the restaurants. But what we can do is figure out different ways of doing those things to be able to drive better economics. And so working with Yum in the U.S., we have a purchasing co-op that's been a tremendous partnership for us. We're working with different suppliers. We're getting access to scale and innovation that we probably wouldn't have in the past, and that's certainly helping. We've also been getting much more nuanced in the way we staff and schedule in our restaurants as well. Another area we're looking at is build cost. And so every time I look, I tell my CFO, it's like picking off the money tree. We've got lots of opportunity.
Sure. What are your priority markets as you look outside? I mean, I assume you're still growing in California.
We sure are, I think it was about 20 new restaurants last year in California.
What are some priority markets elsewhere?
We've been focused on kind of finishing our homework to some degree on the markets where we planted flags. So about half of our growth, we opened 35 restaurants last year. About half of that was in California, and about half is filling in the footprint we have on the East Coast. Because like many growing brands, we've discovered restaurants do better when you get to scale in a market. So that's been what we've been focused on for the last 2 years or so. Pretty big bets in the Carolinas and Arizona, where we're sitting right here, where we opened a number of restaurants last year as well. And this year, we actually will start opening in some new places as well. So it'll be a combination
in the middle there.
It'll be kind of adjacent to where we are at this stage. But I moved from Dallas, so I've got my eye on everything. I think the concept can work anywhere. We're just trying to build it out smartly and make sure that those expansion restaurants are really successful.
Shannon, I live in Louisville, Kentucky, and that is also a headquarter for Yum Brand. So
yes,
won't you consider?
So I sent one of our food trucks. In addition to our restaurants, we have these amazing food trucks. I sent one of them to Dallas last November, I think it was. It came there because I keep getting the question from our Yum folks who saw Habit enter the Yum family, when are we getting one near us? And it was so successful that now I have people just desperate to get one in Kentucky. So when I get it there, I will let you know.
I must be there. Yes. Hey, it's Derby season. It'd be a good time for that.
Sounds delicious to me.
I want to go back to California. Obviously, it's your home market, and we can't not talk about the elephant in the room. That is AB 1228. How has Habit, been nimble, adjusted the strategy? You mentioned, your people earlier.
Make all the difference.
Yes. So, and you're still growing in California. I've heard a lot to the contrary on this floor that, so I'm just curious what you're doing to navigate this. It's a challenge.
It's a big disruption, and we've been through a lot of disruptions, as we were talking about in the restaurant sector in the last couple years. But we are a California-founded company with a big California footprint, and California is an important piece of our future, just as it has been an important piece of our history.
Sure.
So we put a pretty comprehensive plan in place in order to confront this challenge. We want to continue to stand for being an employer of choice in the marketplace, so we thought a lot about how we, not only complied with the legislation, but continue to create great career opportunities and space and growth in our restaurants as we rolled this through. And it forced us to get more creative on some of the things we were working on restaurant economics. So we're only a couple weeks into having all of those changes in place in our restaurants.
Okay.
I spend a lot of time in our restaurants. In 2 short years, I visited 180 of our 370, and in the last couple weeks, I've been in a lot of the California ones talking to folks about how it's going. And I'm really proud of our teams.
Yeah.
It's been a lot of change very quickly, and it feels like business as usual at the Habit. And I don't think you could say that about every other place in the industry right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of anxiety out there. And, would you say that you have the same anxiety? I mean, it sounds like you're pretty confident in the strategy that you are taking, again, to manage this.
I think this is a moment where strong concepts can win. I think looking at what others are doing, sometimes it's quite disruptive to the customer experience. And if we can continue to put our best foot forward, have the best people in our kitchens serving incredible tasting food consistently to our customers every time, to me that's an opportunity in addition to a challenge.
Very good. How does technology play a role? Obviously you're a Yum brand now, Yum Brand's brand. And we know all too well what Yum has done on the tech front, including and especially its proprietary technology, which has been super intriguing to follow. I know Habit was one of the first concepts to test the TikTok platform.
TikTok, yes.
Yeah, I always mess that up.
Chat-based ordering for the young kids.
See, that's why I messed it up. I'm not the demographic here. Tell me how Habit is integrating, these technology platforms that Yum is prioritizing.
I'm really, really proud of Habit technology. If you've heard me speak on it in the past, it was actually the biggest pleasant surprise for me coming into a brand at the Habit. I'm not sure exactly what I expected, but inheriting the incredible technology stack that we have was incredibly pleasant surprise, which isn't to say we can't continue to innovate, right? But I think for a brand that was historically a dine-in business, to make that massive pivot, we had 38% of our sales in Q4 that were through digital platforms. That's a pretty impressive number. And so I'm super excited about that. As I look about what we can do going forward, we've got to continue to innovate as an all-channel brand. So you mentioned TikTok. That's a step we took towards conversational ordering. So basically being able to order through WhatsApp, and particularly convenient for repeat orders. Another place we've been innovating with Yum's assistance is with AI in our drive-thrus, and taking a look at how we can speed up and streamline that process of folks going through. That's still in test. And another place we've been testing is a mobile pickup lane as well. We discovered that our customers are more likely than other customers to actually order ahead and pick up later. And as I kind of dug into that, it makes a lot of sense because we have this loyal customer base that knows we cook to order. That's why they come to us. So if they let us know that they're coming, whether it's giving us 10 minutes notice or letting us know they'll pick it up later, that's the best of all worlds for the customer because they get hot, fresh food at the promised time, and they don't really have to wait for it because they've let us know. And so that's where the insight around leaning into pickup lane came from. So we'll continue to be leaders in this space and lean into what's working for our customers.
Okay. That mobile pickup lane opened, I think, in December.
It did.
Any
in Garden
color?
Grove.
Yeah, I know. You're probably in a quiet period now, right? We're getting dangerously close to earnings, but
I've been well warned.
any color that you can provide on how that test is going? Will it be a part of your growth moving forward? Because it is a new model at the end of the day.
It is early. So, yeah, I can give you some color. I probably can't give you definitive stats at this stage. But it's been a really interesting thing to watch. We stood it up quite quickly in just one restaurant.
Yeah.
So the objective of the test was not really to figure out how much we sell through it, but just to run the water through the pipes, make sure the technology works, we understand how to do the customer experience, how does it work for operators. And then we left it running for a couple months and just watched it. And in the beginning, there were questions you would anticipate. You had customers driving through the lane who thought it was a drive-through, so you got to explain that and give them a QR code and help them through the journey. But what was probably most interesting to me is if you look at the guest feedback for that restaurant versus other new restaurants we opened at the same time frame or other restaurants around, it's actually better than our high standards for what we would expect, better overall, and particularly better for ease of ordering and speed of service, which is an interesting clue, right? That there's definitely something there. Now, the next step for us is to figure out how to market and educate our customers to see how much sales we could really drive through that channel. And you will see us playing a bit more with the mobile pickup lane in the near future. I'm still not totally sure exactly how big of a bet it will be for us.
Okay. You said something earlier on about, are you shrinking prototypes? Is that one of your solutions, perhaps, to inflation and all of it?
Yes. So we have kind of a flexible approach to real estate, and part of it is asking ourselves how big the dining room really needs to be in today's day and age. So dine-in it is the absolute best way to consume the habit if you have the time for it. But there's plenty of customers that want to have that delicious food, and for whatever reason need to consume it outside the dining room. So we are asking ourselves that question. Sure. And the prototype that we're looking at for the one we think we'll build the most often is about 20% smaller than what we've built in the past. So we still want to be able to have a dining room, but it doesn't need to be as large. We're also finding efficiencies on how we design the kitchen, how we spec different pieces of equipment with input from our sister brands and the backing of Yum as well.
Okay, so there's a cash on cash.
There is some news I was sharing with our franchisees a few weeks ago that it was generating some excitement there. I think that'll help us with the payback cycle as well.
That's a good transition because, when we zoom out here a little bit and look at the macro environment, it's still quite challenged.
Yes.
We haven't been through quite enough, so we're going to keep inflation high a little bit longer. I think a lot of people were anticipating, financing to get a little bit cheaper. What does growth look like for you with this relentlessly challenged backdrop? I mean, are investors coming off the sidelines here? I mean, do you see an interest from franchisees? I mean, I think you were 8.3%, 22 over 23 in unit growth.
35 new restaurants. That sounds about right. And we're coming off, I think we grew 10% a year for something like 17 or 18 years in a row. So we've continued to grow despite the challenges of that environment. And our partners have continued to grow alongside us, which is great. For us, as I look forward, some of it is continuing the work we've started. So we still have more upside on our payback cycle, and we will continue to drive in that direction. I'm very optimistic we'll make progress despite the challenges of the environment. And then the place that we've got to double down right now is igniting the flame of transaction growth. We have this incredible cult of followers. People, I always say there's two types of people in the world: people who have never had the habit and people who love the habit. And once they love the habit, wow, they really are your number one fans. But if we're going to grow more quickly outside of the places we're well known, we need to lean in and amplify that cult.
Sure.
And so we're investing in a different way behind marketing. We brought in a new chief marketing officer last year from KFC
Jack,
in the
right?
UK. Jack,
Yeah.
he's wonderful. We're partnering with a new agency, Barrett Hoffer, and we're increasing the investment we're making in marketing and looking not only to invest more, but to get bigger amplification around the campaigns that we do through earned media.
Okay.
So the two that are out there right now that Barrett's partnered with us on are our grown-up meal, which is a really fun habit take on value. We landed on this insight that customers were kind of with a little bit of shame ordering the kids meal to try to make ends meet, and we decided to lean into that and give them this incredible offer that has a full char burger in the kids meal boat and the gummy burger as well for a little bit of fun. And so when you have ideas like that, they not only are we able to put those out through media, we also get some pickup from folks who find those things creative and interesting, and our cult starts talking about them, and that builds.
Very good. So is that a trial play more than anything?
We have been working on value for about 6 months now, and I think that is an angle that is a good one. I can't promise you I'll do the grown-up meal exactly the same way again, but I think what we've learned there is that we need to do it in a way that really feels true to the spirit of habit, delivers that quality, right? Delivers that experience alongside value, and makes it feel special.
Sure. You mentioned earlier the Better Burger category. You think there's a lot of opportunity there. Where will you differentiate? It sounds like you're doing some creative things on the menu side, on the marketing side. Where are you going to differentiate yourself from some of these other players? Yep.
It's actually been there all along, right underneath our nose, which is when you hear customers who love the habit and talk about the habit, they talk about how they feel good when they eat it. So there are a lot of delicious burgers out there. I still think we have the #1 burger in America, but there are a lot of delicious burgers. But a lot of times customers eat those, and afterwards they feel a bit guilty.
Yeah.
When they eat our food, they feel good. And customers really need things in their lives right now that help them feel good. And there's a whole system that we do that drives that. It's because we char grill over an open flame. It's because we cook to order. We freshly prep ingredients in the back of the house. We offer menu variety, things like lettuce wrapping your sandwiches and salads, tempura green beans that are half the calories of fries. So that is the differentiator, has always been for the habit, but we just hadn't crystallized it quite that way. But you see it in the fact that we have more diverse customer base. We have larger party sizes, and that's because we attract more types of people into the category. So I don't worry about differentiation at all, to be honest with you. I think we coexist very nicely next to the other players that I wish them luck, but not us.
Do you have a set goal in mind on unit count?
Not a specific number. They only look to buy things that they think are big.
Sure.
But exactly what that number is, we don't totally know.
And no personal goal. Like you're around, what, 380 now?
My personal goal is to become $1 billion brand in the near future.
Let's do it. So. Let's take over the world, right? That's what we're here for. So announce that.
Total burger domination.
That's right. All right. Well, final question. Again, we said it's been less than a year, so you've got your sea legs getting there. Probably not fully under you, but what are you, knowing what you know now with almost a year under your belt, what excites you the most, and what are you looking forward to in this growth phase with this marketing muscle behind it and this tech stack behind it that Yum is working toward? It sounds like there's a lot of moving parts happening that is creating some momentum. So I'm curious about your perspective and what you're most excited about going into year 2, year 3, year 4, year 5.
What excites me is the opportunity for our people. I've always been driven by people, right? At the end of the day, it's the hallmark of my leadership style. And if I look at what really fuels our growth, it's being able to create opportunity for folks at our restaurant and above our restaurants. What I fell in love with, and a lot of the reason that I'm here, was looking at how the system that we have in the kitchen allows people to advance. And when you talk to people about why they came to the habit and why they stay, it is that opportunity, right? So we have always been a growth company, but how that opportunity translates not only into financial outcomes or success, but how it translates into opportunities for people, that's what excites me the most.
Very cool. Well, again, Shannon, I appreciate your time. I mean, it's a great conversation, and I'm really glad to meet you in person.
Nice to meet you.
It's been fun to watch your work so far, and we'll follow along, of course.
Thank you.
All right, Shannon Hennessy with the Habit Burger Grill. Thank you.